Alright guys, I think we are live. Welcome back to the channel. It's been a about a month since I've last talked to you guys. Apologies with the whole issue with the copyright stuff. I will explain that later on into the stream. But we have got qualifying today at Canada, round number 7 of this Formula One season. We're wet qualifying as well, which is absolutely fantastic, really. Lots to look forward to. We've had rain pretty much on and off all day, but there is definitely a pretty big amount of standing water on the circuit right now. Oh, let's just turn that down. There's a pretty big amount of standing water on the circuit, which will be great for, action. So that will be, that'll be good. Welcome. Yeah, we've got, I think, 100 people already watching the stream. Thank you everyone for tuning in. So I'll have a quick little summary of what's happened in FP1, 2, and 3 so far. So in FP1, we had CCTV camera issues with at the circuit, really. I've been told that they didn't have power going to the CCTV cameras, and hence the FIA couldn't, see if the track was safe at certain points or not, because they didn't have any visual images of what the circuit was actually like, what was happening on the circuit. Hence, they had to completely red flag the session. All the drivers came back into the pits, and we had, I think, about 10 minutes of running at the start, and apart from that, no running whatsoever in FP1. And because of that, they extended FP2 from the usual 60 minutes to 90 minutes, which means, which was great for the teams because they got a lot of testing that they had to do, and they got that done in that 90-minute slot. Long runs, slow runs, the whole lot, really. And yeah, in FP2, in fact, Mercedes were top of the timings, which was quite a sight to behold. But I would just like to put this out there. Mercedes did their short runs towards the end of the session when track evolution had occurred, and they did their long runs at the start, whereas the other teams did their short runs at the start and then did their long runs at the end. So that's why Mercedes were top of the timings, because everyone else did their short runs when the track was in worse conditions. But saying that, Mercedes still did have quite a bit of performance, and we can't really take that away from them. Num but bro asked what happened last Grand Prix. Basically, after you get a copyright strike on YouTube, they don't let you live stream for a week, and I got a copyright strike the week before, so they didn't let me stream last week. 2 weeks ago, sorry. But yeah, they didn't let me stream, so that's what happened. Yeah, pretty unfortunate. I mean, YouTube just doing. I'm gonna get that copyright claim is getting reverted as well, so it was utterly pointless for them to do it in the first place. But you know, yeah, stuff like that happens, I guess. All right. Yeah, Red Bull is going to have to be slow because of the gearbox. Yeah, Max was in fact complaining today about the downshift. He was having issues with his downshifts, and they were apparently getting worse and worse as the session progressed. Now, of course, Red Bull would have brought this car back into the garage, analysed the timings on the gear shifts and everything, probably put in a couple of new settings, and yeah, so far, we don't really know if there's been some major improvement. We only heard one team radio message from him, so. But considering the fact that he is still top of the timings, goes to show that, whatever they did seems to have fixed it. And yeah. All right. 10 minutes now till qualifying starts. So that was in FP1 and FP2, what happened there. And, I think it was, in fact, in FP1, there was an issue with Pierre Gasly's car. Before the red flag came out, there was an issue with Pierre Gasly's car. He could not engaged the clutch on his car, and as you guys may know, clutch is a pretty important part of the car, and that's why he had to stop on the side of the track. So he had Alpine had one issue then, and then in FP2 they had a water leak in Esteban Ocon's car. So once again, Alpine having double issues in practice sessions, which isn't great for them, really. They are kind of on the back foot in this entire season, haven't made the same progress that Aston Martin have, and they haven't really been able to close the gap up to Ferrari either. So we'll just have to see how that works out for them. Can they bounce back from it? And Yeah, so that's what happened down at Alpine. But in the FP3 session, it was tremendously wet right at the start of the session. Everyone went out on full wet tires, and then they slowly transitioned over to intermediate tires. Even still, we did have lots of people locking up the brakes, going too deep. Yuki Tsunoda had two moments. In fact, he did a very nice pirouette, completely by accident, by the way, into going into one of the chicanes. And then on the entry of turn number two, also spun the car around. Once again, was Yuki Tsunoda. So yeah, Yuki Tsunoda struggling, and I mean a lot of other drivers struggling. Sainz had his crash got towards the end of the session, just started braking, and it seemed to maybe been a mistake. Maybe he was on the paint, but I'm not particularly sure if it was the paint or not, because other drivers have been driving all over the paint and they seem to have been doing fine. But Carlos Sainz, yes, locked his rear brakes, spun right round, and then yeah, crashed into the barriers. The Ferrari are fixing their car right now, his car right now. So yeah, he damaged his front left suspension, a complete front wing section, complete nose, sorry, and then complete rear wing as well. The rear wing got severely damaged. Quite a few pieces fell off of it. So yeah, they will have that fixed, I presume, by the start of Q1. And yeah, they will have been working to a deadline, so they will get that done as they usually do. And then, yeah, so FP3 was a wet session. It has been raining ever since FP3. And, well, here we are at Canada, 7 minutes before qualifying. And it's been raining all morning. Quite good, quite good. Did you watch the 2011 Canadian Grand Prix? In fact, no, I didn't. I've heard that it's one of the greatest races ever. And yeah, I remember, I think Seb Vettel did lose the lead like on the last lap or something. Maybe it wasn't the last lap, but yeah, it was like 3 hours long. It was quite ridiculous, really. But no, I have not watched the entire thing. What's the forecast for the race? It will be a wet qualifying and a dry race by the looks of it. So the teams have a little bit of a choice to make. Are they going to go with a wet setup for qualifying and then struggle in the race because they'll have extra downforce than they need, or are they going to go with a lower downforce setup in qualifying, struggle in quali, and then be quick down the straights in the race? It's going to be a little bit of an interesting choice. We've seen a couple of teams might go entirely towards we need to be good in quali, and then a couple of teams might go entirely towards we need to be good in the race. Now, considering there are several very long straights here, especially coming off the hairpin in the final sector, and well, quite a big DRS zone there as well, I think more teams are going to opt towards having performance in the race and having straight line speed, and they're going to suffer in qualifying because, yeah, of course, the race is where you get the points. So it's that's probably the best way to go about doing things to make sure that you are quick in race conditions. And yeah, so we'll see what happens there. And yeah, the drivers just getting into their cars now. 5 minutes to go, and we will be getting racing shortly. Who do you like more, Vettel or Verstappen? I think it's safe to say I'd like Vettel more. Unfortunately, he's still not in F1 really. So yeah, so I guess I'm supporting Alonso, but yeah, apart from Alonso, I'm not particularly supporting any particular driver. So yeah, we'll wait and see what happens though. All right, 5 minutes before qualifying starts. Let's just run through the grid, see if we've got anything interesting to talk about. Well, we have actually. It's Lance Stroll's home Grand Prix, which is well always a little bit of a motivational boost for you. And the other thing is that it is changing conditions, which is where Lance Stroll is, well, absolutely fantastic in these sort of changing conditions. So, yeah, that is looking good for him. We'll wait and see how far up the field he can get. But I think, yeah, in Turkey, in these similar changing conditions, in wet conditions, maybe intermediate, maybe full wets, he got his first pole position. So, who knows what he can do? Maybe he could pull one out of the bag, maybe out qualify Alonso. Who really knows? Yeah. I don't think Alonso is going to be out qualified. I'm going to be honest here. Alonso in wet conditions is once again very, very quick. So we will, well, I look forward to seeing where he qualifies. Yeah. Welcome back. Yeah. Thank you, C. Paul. Yeah. I guess we've got 300 people here. I'll probably explain it towards in tomorrow's Grand Prix as well. But effectively, what happened was there were a bunch of people that were like streaming F1, like the actual Sky Sports thing on YouTube, and then Formula One management found out about that, and then they banned every single person that was streaming F1 live on YouTube in English at that point. I don't know why. I presume because the company's based in America, and they have, well, yeah, everything just comes up as English, and they just pretend that the other languages don't exist. But yeah, all the English streams were banned, and then the Spanish and the Italian and all of the rest of the languages were still up. But yeah, so that's effectively what happened. Everyone, like, there were so many people streaming Sky Sports, so instead of banning just one person, they just banned everyone. And yeah, I got caught up in that, so that's unfortunate. All right, Hamilton or F1? Oh wait, what? Hamilton or Schumacher? Um, I'm gonna be honest. I'm just not gonna answer that question. You're just gonna leave it up to you guys. You guys can decide who you think is best. Um, yeah, there's no real need for me to answer. Yeah. Greetings from the Bermuda Islands. Very, very, very interesting. Yeah. Oh well, actually, guys, I think everyone, maybe, well, I don't know everyone, but I'm sure a lot of people have heard about the Bermuda Triangle. And when I was a kid, I heard about it, and I was very concerned. Like, if I flew over the Bermuda Triangle, I would be very scared. But right now, it's just, I thought it'd be a very big part of my life, and right now, it's just not. Um, yeah, it's very interesting though how, um, I forgot what I was going to say. And in fact, it's not particularly important. We've got 2 minutes till qualifying starts, and let's get going. Predictions for the race. I mean, I can't give predictions for the race before qualifying has even happened, so I'm gonna have to give. We're gonna have to let qualifying happen, then I can do predictions for the race. But yeah, here we are now. 1 minute and 50 seconds away. I'll give you a quick tour of the Canadian Grand Prix. So currently, the conditions around the circuit, cloudy everywhere, very dark clouds, ominous clouds, and it has been raining for the past couple of hours or so, which is wonderful. To be honest, absolutely wonderful. And that's going to really spice up today's um, qualifying session. So here we are in Montreal around the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Round number 9 of the Formula One season. It is a 4.3 kilometer circuit where the drivers spend 60% of their time at full throttle. We have 3 DRS zones and 14 corners. The circuit is very, very flat. The elevation changes at max 5 meters. So, yeah, not very, very flat circuit. The tires for today's qualifying session are probably the intermediates or the wets, but when we go into dry racing tomorrow, it's a C5, C4, and C3. And the circuit itself, we have got going into turn number 1, a pretty big. So, in fact, I think I can. Oh, yeah, my mouse shows up. Okay, so this is the start finish straight over here. The drivers going down here, going into turn number 1. It's a pretty tricky braking zone. Carlos Sainz, in fact, crashed here in FP3, but effectively, you've try not to lock your brakes and just get a good entry into this corner. Your exit doesn't really matter because you go straight into turn number 2. And at turn number 2, you need a good exit out of there. Yuki Tsunoda had a spin here, so that's not ideal. And of course, it gets a little bit tricky with water, like kind of like standing water being on parts of the circuit. It's not ideal. Qualifying predictions. I mean, if Verstappen doesn't crash, Verstappen's on pole, and then hopefully Alonso and Leclerc. Yeah, I guess what it is now, really. And then we've got another quick chicane here, turn number 3 and 4, which is it's a little bit downhill. So the drivers have to be careful when braking into that corner because, well, downhill braking is particularly difficult in Formula One cars. Then you go through into another quick chicane and, yeah, a left right this time instead of a right left before. and you get very, very close to the wall here. We've seen drivers tap the wall, and yeah. Is there any more rain due? Well, I will keep you up to date on that, but I think it is still raining right now. I'm not 100% sure. It's light rain right now. It was raining heavier before, and yeah. All right, and then another chicane. This is what you hit. What it Canada effectively is. It's many chicanes next to each other. So yeah, a right and then a left, and then you get to the hairpin, which is very tricky because there's so much standing water on the inside of that corner. It is yeah, quite ridiculous really. And then you go through onto the back straight where there is DRS, and then the final chicane next to the wall of champions, and you go across the line for a lap of Canada. So that is, yeah, the Canadian Grand Prix. Is the GPS working? Yes, it is. The drivers will be coming out shortly. Well, in fact, they are. There we see Alex Albon is out on intermediate tyres. And then we will have Bottas, Alonso. Yes, everyone else is coming out, as you can see. Alonso, Bottas, Norris, Albon, Zhou, Ocon, Sargent. All of them coming out. And one thing I would like to point out, guys, it is very much intermediate conditions on the circuit, but the most important part about being on a wet circuit is not whether you're on the correct tire. Of course, it helps being on the correct tire, but the correct temperature is quite possibly the most important thing you can have in these wet conditions. So the drivers will be driving around, analyzing parts of the track. They'll be going over the curbs, seeing where there's standing water, seeing where there isn't, and they will be trying to gather as much information as possible, finding out where might be the fastest possible line across these corners. Trying to stay out the spray of the drivers ahead of them as well, because spray is a pretty big issue around, well, any sort of circuit when it is raining. And yeah, so that's what the drivers are doing right now on their first outlap. Alex Albon starting his first flying lap. He'll be driving around, going through into turn number 1 and 2 now, and we'll see what he can do. But I suspect the driver's going to do at least 2 warm-up laps because yeah, tire temperature is pretty critical, and with air temperature being 16 degrees, track temperature being 18 degrees, it is definitely not helping their cause whatsoever to just do 1 lap and then go for a full attack. So I suspect they'll do 1 out lap, then 1 like warm-up sort of lap, and then they will go for a full attack lap. Guan Yu Zhou seems to have some sort of issue. He's driving along pretty slowly along the circuit. He is going to make it back to the pits by the looks of it. But we do have a yellow flag on the circuit. I don't know. Oh, that is in fact Guan Yu Zhou that has caused the yellow flag. He has stopped on the side of the circuit. Let me just put yellow flag up onto the screen. 1 sec, guys. There we go. Yeah, but Guan Yu Zhou has now stopped on the side of the circuit, and they will be well, if they can restart the car, then he'll get going. If not, they will have to, well, I presume, call a red flag and pick his car up. So yeah, not sure as of yet. All of the drivers, though, they're driving all over the different parts of the circuit, trying to clear up as much water as possible, and then they will, well, so they'll know where the water is, where it isn't. But the circuit seems to have dried up quite a bit. There is pretty good drainage around here. Of course, in Canada, rain and snow is pretty, well, it happens quite often. So the circuit is well prepared with a good amount of drainage. And, well, that's helping out for all of the drivers. There isn't as much standing water as there usually is. And they can get on with their laps on intermediate tyres. Unfortunately, they will not be getting on with any sort of laps now because we have red flag conditions. Because of Guan Yu Zhou, they have called it a red flag, and all the drivers are coming back into the pits. Yeah. Yes, the map has changed. I'm using this map just in case of the little copyright things that YouTube are like, well, being annoying about, really. I will probably change back to the old map either tomorrow or in like 2 weekends time. But yeah, for now, yeah. Now we're going to stay with this map. Yeah, Guan Yu Zhou had some sort of engine issue on the outlap. He is parked up next to the barriers and quite close to escape road, in fact. So they should be fine. Um, well, it shouldn't take too long to get his car out, but yeah, having a look when he came out of the pit lane, he's having some sort of issues. The car kind of vibrating around, not the car, sorry, the engine, making a couple of weird noises. And then as he came out of the pit lane, just trundled along, um, and yeah, had no power effectively. Can you give a weather slash track update? So, weather is it is not raining by the looks of it. It's not raining right now, or if it is raining, it's very, very light. And the circuit is drying out. It's not completely dry. There are still patches of water basically everywhere, but there is no standing water. There is no big chunks of standing water anywhere, and it is very much intermediate conditions. The drivers will not be switching onto the slicks anytime soon. We'll need at least towards the end of the entirety of Q3 before they switch onto the onto the slicks. And even then it would be a little bit risky. So yeah, there is standing water pretty much everywhere. Well, not sorry, not standing water. There is water everywhere, but just not as much standing water. Yeah. So everyone's on inters waiting to see if slicks can be made to work. Well, I don't think anyone's right now concerned about making slicks work, because it is quite clear it is intermediate conditions. Where well, the lap times were 1:27. I don't know if they were representative or not, but the switch around point between slicks and inters I think is around 1:20. So they're like 7 seconds off or something, which is yeah quite significant. Would slicks work towards the end of Q3? I think they would. Well, it depends. If it stops raining and all drivers drive over the exact same line, they will form a dry line, and slicks will work on that singular piece of dry line. It's now just a question of, well, thing is, when you can't just drive on the dry line because you're going to have to get out of the way to let other cars by when you're on your outlap, and that's going to cool your tires down and get water all over your tires, and well, effectively, it's not great. So, if everything goes absolutely perfectly, they have a tiny shot of going onto the soft tires, but apart from that, it will be probably intermediates till the end of the session, till the end of qualifying. Sorry. So the red flag is because Guan Yu Zhou has stopped on the side of the circuit. Yeah, just an outlap and then an engine reliability issue. So he's stuck on the side of the circuit. They will be getting a truck and taking him away shortly, but not too long now, because he was parked up right next to a marshal post. All right. Thank you everyone for tuning in. By the way, we got 700 people. I very much do appreciate the support. If you are enjoying, then be sure to hit the like button and or subscribe. Yeah, not much else to comment on really. So that's been, yeah, the drivers got out, did a couple of laps, but nothing significant. Also, would just like to point out we do have a headwind of 3.2 meters per second, which isn't particularly quick, but it definitely helps out to say the least. Going into turn number 1, which means we'll probably get less lockups than usual, and into the final chicane as well, which is definitely helping out all the drivers because, to be honest, those two corners are probably the two trickiest corners of the circuit. Also, guys, the session will be restarted in 1 minute's time. So yeah, don't go anywhere because it's getting restarted in less than 1 minute. In fact, probably 40 seconds or something. Not long now. And so let's just switch this back to a green flag. And we will get racing. Well, we'll get qualifying shortly. Why is there a flag? Guan Yu Zhou had a issue. Okie dokes. Alrighty then. So, what else is going on the circuit? Well, there's nothing going on the circuit. In the garage, though, we have got drivers queuing up at the end of the pit lane to get out as early as possible. And hopefully set a early lap time before there is any sort of issues with another red flag or a yellow flag or anything like that. So there we are. All right. Hello, fluffy, puffy, puppy. Yeah, yeah, honestly, if I tried to say that too fast, um yeah, well, that's just not going to work. Fluffy, puffy, puppy, fluffy, puffy. Okay. Well, I recommend you guys try to say that. But anyway, let's get back to qualifying. Um, yeah, here we go. Green flag is out, delayed by a minute or so. I'm not sure exactly why, but yeah, green flag is out. Drivers filing out of the pit lane, and they will come up on the GPS shortly. And yeah, as expected, everyone is out on intermediate tires, and we'll just have everyone do a warm-up lap, potentially do a second warm-up lap, and then they will start on their full attack laps. Hey, sorry if you address this. Why is YouTube removing your commentary live streams for the last two races? So what happened was, I guess I can do this while everyone's on their out laps. Basically, I was streaming as usual, as I have been since like 2020. But there happened to be a bunch of people that were streaming the actual Sky Sports coverage on YouTube for the, I forgot which Grand Prix it was, but it was I think it was the Monaco Grand. No, was it the Monaco Grand Prix? I don't know, but basically the first race that I couldn't. Yeah, it was the Monaco Grand Prix. There were a bunch of people streaming that on YouTube, the actual Sky Sports coverage. So when Formula One management found out about that, they were like, okay, we need to ban these guys. But because there wasn't just one, there were about 7 of them. They just banned everyone streaming F1 content on YouTube. In English, to be specific. They banned everyone who's streaming F1 content in English on YouTube, and I happen to fall under that. So, yeah, it really wasn't great. So that's what happened, really. And then I couldn't stream the weekend after because they copyright striked me, and you can't stream for a week after you get a copyright strike. So that's why I haven't been able to do that That's why I haven't been able to stream for the past 2 races. How do you get back if you have to write to YouTube? There is like a support thing. Like I'm getting the copyright strike removed tomorrow. Oh no, not tomorrow, on Monday. So hopefully that'll be gone. And yeah, but it is quite annoying really because they just banned everyone without even looking at your content. So yeah, pretty unfair. And to be honest, it's a bit of a joke. I'm not really trying to I'm not even going to go and defend them. It's stupid, but yeah, it's happened and here we are now. So yeah, and unfortunately, I'm not even going to be able to stream the next the Austrian Grand Prix either because that's the weekend I'm moving back from university to back home for the summer, which means all my streaming equipment is going to be in the car going back home. So yeah, that's unfortunate. I'm going to miss another Grand Prix. Apologies, guys. Yeah, there's nothing I can really do. But let's get back to this. We've got Max Verstappen in the 124s in pole position. Not pole position. He's in first position in Q1. But he is 3 seconds faster than his teammate. And in fact, Logan Sargent, what a brilliant lap from him, and Alex Albon as well, coming close to Max Verstappen. So all the drivers now out. All the drivers now out onto the circuit, all 20 of them, in fact, driving around, trying to get as much performance as they can out of their cars on these rapidly changing conditions as well. So we'll wait and see how that goes for them. Yeah, the yeah counter. I mean, I've been saying yeah a little bit too much recently. I'm going to try and tone it down a little bit. But we'll have to see how that goes. All right. So with 10 minutes left on the clock, we've got Fernando Alonso, half a second ahead of Max Verstappen. You'll love to see it. Absolutely fantastic there from Fernando Alonso. I expect to be seeing that in Q3. Maybe steal a pole position away from Max Verstappen. That would be nice. It'll be a little bit more exciting that way round. But Verstappen promptly responds back, and he goes 7/10 quicker than Fernando Alonso. And Fernando Alonso responds once again. Fernando Alonso is now purple through the first sector. We'll wait and see what he can do through the second sector, but it's looking good for Fernando Alonso. All right. Then we have Lewis Hamilton up in third position. Mercedes were struggling so badly in FP3. Like, I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys here. Mercedes could not switch on their tires whatsoever. They were struggling so much. Lewis Hamilton was just like, right, guys, let's just call it a day. I have no grip here. We're just gonna go sit in the pits. And Mercedes said yes. Mercedes were like, okay, we'll just do that, because they just had no grip whatsoever. They could not get those tires up to temperature. And by the looks of it, Hamilton has got the grips of the tires. He has warmed them up to sufficient temperature. And, well, he's doing great in fourth position. George Russell, not so much. He's, I guess, still in the warming up process. And whatever Lewis is doing, Mercedes will be relaying that to Russell to tell him to do the exact same. Also, Fernando Alonso crosses the line, 2 purple sectors, a personal best in the third sector, and he is once again back in first position, 2/10 faster than Max Verstappen, and we are now in the 1 minute 22s. So we are bordering onto the range of switching onto the slick tires. I suspect it's around 1 minute 20. Now, I'm going to be honest, I don't have a good source for that. My source is very much trust me, bro. But yeah, as the usual lap times around this circuit is a 1 minute 14, 1 minute 13. So as the drivers get lower and lower and closer to that, we will have teams experimenting and potentially thinking about switching onto the slick tires. All right. And then we have got, oh, look at this. The 2 Hasses up in 4th and 5th position. I mean, the Hasses are fantastic in qualifying. I'm not going to lie. Hülkenberg and Magnussen, especially Hülkenberg, he has been pulling out absolutely magnificent performances in qualifying. Once it does come to race conditions, they are slightly lacking in terms of race pace, but their qualifying has been fantastic. Also, would just like to point out, Verstappen's now done 2 purple sectors and is on his way to the final chicane. He's got Ocon ahead of him as traffic. Is Ocon going to get out of the way? By the looks of it, he is. And in fact, Ocon's going to give Verstappen a tow, and here he comes across the start-finish line and puts himself 6/10 ahead of Fernando Alonso. Absolutely blisteringly fast lap there from Max Verstappen, and he's done that on 6-lap-old intermediate tyres. All right, so yeah, circuit is getting faster and faster. We're, I would say, around about 2 seconds away from the switch window to start switching towards the intermediate tires. As I am looking onto the live feed right now, there is a dry line starting to form on the main straight. Especially, there are parts of the circuit that are completely dry, and then as the drivers are going, well, different parts of the circuit, as you can see on the map, the circuit is quite long. It is, I think, 3 kilometers in total, but there's 3 kilometers of circuit, so some parts are going to be dry, some parts are going to be a little bit wetter. But the drivers are experimenting, and there is a very distinct dry line across many portions of the circuit. So the teams will now start to think about switching over to the slick tires. All right. Let's see. We've got Charles Leclerc up in second position now. He's got a purple third sector from Charles Leclerc and puts himself 3/10 behind Max Verstappen. So that was indeed a brilliant lap there from Charles, and he puts himself up into third. And saying that, Fernando Alonso now has a fastest third sector, and he puts himself up into second place ahead of Charles and only 0.5 tenth behind Max Verstappen. So Fernando Alonso, once again, doing a brilliant job. This time, unfortunately, not ahead of Max Verstappen, just behind him. And we'll wait and see what he can do. There was only a little, Verstappen got purple in the first and second sector. Alonso got purple in the third sector. So it's very much touch and go. And the third sector is a long, long straight. You've got the hairpin, a long straight with DRS, a chicane, and then another straight with DRS. So it looks to be that the Red Bull is slightly quicker in the corners and the Aston Martin is slightly quicker in a straight line, which bodes well for Aston Martin because the lower downforce setup you have, the better performance you are going to have in race conditions. And yeah. All right. Yeah, this map is to avoid copyright issues. I will have it sorted out maybe in 2 weekends time, so after Austria. But you know, um, yeah, that's an issue for 2 weeks, two races time. All right. Also, I would just like to point out one of the Red Bull drivers. I don't know which driver it is, because I wasn't paying enough attention to the TV feed. But one of the Red Bull drivers was asked, "Is it time to switch over to slick tires?" And they said no. So that is fair enough. So the Red Bull drivers don't think they are just as yet ready. And fair enough. I mean, looking at Hamilton's on board, there is still quite a bit of spray coming off the back of his car, and he was struggling quite a bit going into, coming out the hairpin, sorry, with quite a bit of oversteer. Carlos Sainz has been blocked by an Alpha Tauri by the looks of it. Yes, Sonoda blocked Carlos Sainz into the final chicane, so we'll see if Sonoda gets a penalty there, but it's not ideal for Carlos Sainz. And yeah, Sainz down in 8th position, 5 positions behind his teammate. Not looking good for him whatsoever. Max Verstappen, once again, another purple sector from him. Charles Leclerc, purple in the middle sector. And Fernando Alonso right now seems to be on a battery recharge lap. Okie dokes. Lewis Hamilton once again up in 4th position. George Russell is in 8th. He's brought himself up a little bit, and he is still though 0.5 of a second behind Lewis Hamilton in terms of pace. So he's still yet to get those tires into optimal conditions. All right. Well, see, David Souza Carlos seem to complain a lot. Thing is, sometimes sometimes you are in a correct position to complain. Like Carlos Sainz was completely blocked at that point, so it's fair enough to complain. Then sometimes it isn't right to complain. But I feel in this situation, Carlos Sainz was right to complain, so fair enough. He was on a quick lap and was blocked by Yuki Tsunoda. Why is Stroll all the way down there? To be honest, I have no idea. I was expecting Stroll to be up there, maybe competing for 5th and 6th position. It is his home Grand Prix. He's brilliant in changing conditions, but he seems to be, well, stuck down in 16th position. I have no idea what's happening there, really. All right, 2 minutes left on the clock. And we have Max Verstappen up in 1st position, 0.3 ahead of Fernando Alonso. And then we have Charles Leclerc in 3rd position, who is 0.5 behind Fernando Alonso. All right. How do you feel about becoming a VTuber? I have no idea what a VTuber is, so yeah. I guess you could let me know what a VTuber is, but yeah, I don't have a response to that. How many drivers go through into Q2? 15 drivers go through, 5 are eliminated, and currently the elimination zone stands to be Tsunoda, Stroll, De Vries, Sargent, and Zhou. Zhou looks to be not getting back onto the circuit. Wait, in fact, is he back onto the circuit? Let's have a look. Oh no, Guan Yu Zhou is back onto the circuit, so whatever issues they have fixed, but he hasn't set a representative lap time yet, so that's not looking good. Oh, a typo for a YouTuber. How do I feel about becoming a YouTuber? It's pretty cool, I guess. I mean, I didn't really plan on it. I kind of, just stumbled upon. I liked F1, so I streamed a bit of this content, and then someone asked me to commentate in like the Russian Grand Prix in 2020, and then I tried it, and I was all right, and then I did it properly in 2021, and here I am. It's quite a lot of luck, to be honest. But yeah, back to qualifying. We got 20 seconds left on the clock. We got Fernando Alonso up in 1st position,
Absolutely fantastic from him. And he is now 2 tenths ahead of Max Verstappen. And Lando Norris as well puts in a brilliant lap, putting him up to third place. All right, with 4 seconds left on the clock, drivers are rushing to start their final flying laps. Max Verstappen, 2 purple sectors from him, looks to potentially go faster than Fernando Alonso. But for now, we have Valtteri Bottas crossing the line, putting himself up into 7th position. Great lap from him. Next up is Esteban Ocon to come across the line. 16th position right now. He crosses the line, puts himself up into 5th. Great progress from him. We've got Lance Stroll now. He was in 11th, crosses the line, stays in 11th, unfortunately. Maybe that'll get him through. Who knows? Max Verstappen crosses the line, goes 6 tenths ahead of Fernando Alonso. Absolute domination. Sergio Perez currently in 12th, crosses the line up into 7th position. Nick de Vries, who's in 17th, crosses the line, stays in 17th, unfortunately. Hamilton, who's in 8th, up into 3rd. Great lap from him. Guan Yu Zhou, his first representative lap time after his issue, he crosses the line into 18th position. He is out of Q1. Oscar Piastri from 15th to 9th. George Russell up into 4th place, finally got those tyres warmed up. Charles Leclerc currently in 6th, crosses the line into 5th position. Alex Albon in 8th, up into 6th. Logan Sargent in 20th position right now. He comes across the line in 18th. Unfortunately, he is out as well. Nico Hulkenberg on the cusp of being eliminated in 15th place. Does not improve. Yuki Tsunoda only improves up to 16th. K-Mag into 13th. But that has been qualifying, guys. And we have the 5 drivers that have been eliminated are Yuki Tsunoda, Pierre Gasly, Nick de Vries, Logan Sargent, and Guan Yu Zhou. All right. That has been Q1, guys, and quite a exciting session. We have dipped down into the 1 minute 20s, and we could potentially see a switch onto the slicks, maybe in the next session, maybe into the session after, and yeah. All right. Oh, a VTuber is like using a face cam, but instead of a face cam, it's an avatar. I see. I mean, if I was to do anything like that, I'm not particularly like keen on revealing my face. I would wear like a helmet, but then it would kind of muffle my voice, which kind of, you know, like ruins the point of the live stream. So I probably wouldn't do that. But let's see. Remy, I think you also got more YouTube fame in the community because you are more likable than most data channels or commentators I saw. Well, I very much do appreciate that. Thank you for the compliment. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what to say, but thank you very much. Lewis Hamilton got blocked by Lance Stroll going into... Oh, no. Lewis Hamilton blocked Lance Stroll going into the final corner. And Pierre Gasly got held up by traffic. So it's all kicked off at the end of Q1. There was loads of traffic. Everyone trying to go as late as possible because, of course, the later you go, the better track conditions you have. And... yeah, Pierre Gasly got held up by a Ferrari, and then, to be honest, it wasn't even the Ferrari's fault. There was an AlphaTauri that kind of was blocking the view of Pierre Gasly, but yeah. Also, guys, be sure to have a quick drink and stay hydrated. I'm just gonna have a quick drink and I'll be back in a second. All right. So that has been Q1, guys. Let's just switch the Q1 to a Q2. Also, we are, 40 subscribers, 63 subscribers away from 55k. So if we could hit that, that'd be pretty fantastic. Yeah. All right. Why is Checo so slow? To be honest, I think it's more that Max Verstappen is very good in wet conditions. And, well, actually, it's not all that. I would say Sergio Perez is usually 6 tenths, 4 tenths behind Max Verstappen, 2 tenths, maybe equal, but most of the time he's behind him, just never by 1.3 seconds. So I think it might just be a little bit of a safety factor that all the drivers are little building in now, because we have got, well, of course it is wet qualifying, mistakes are quite easy to make. So Sergio Perez knows he's got the fastest car. He knows that he can push slightly less than everyone else and still get away with it. So I think he might be driving just under that limit ever so slightly. So he knows that he's not going to have a crash. Because, well, yeah, there'd be no point ruining his weekend in Q1 if he was going to make it through by pushing slightly less hard. Now in Q3, I suspect he'll be a lot closer to Max Verstappen, and probably in this session as well, because it is getting quite competitive in this top 15 now. Lots of competition, and all the drivers very, very close to each other in terms of timing. Of course, the circuit being so short does not help as well, but yeah, we will see. I suspect Sergio Perez will pick up the pace a little bit towards the end of these sessions. And it's also just a confidence thing, really, because you have to build up that confidence. Now, of course, in FP3, sorry, they did a lot of wet tire running, but the reality of the thing is that between FP3 and now, conditions have changed significantly. Temperatures, I think, gone down a little bit, and well, where the water is located on the circuit, how much water is located at certain parts of the circuit, it's all very, very different. And that's why the drivers have to rebuild their confidence. What happened to Gasly? Is he just slow? No, Pierre Gasly got blocked on his qualifying lap. He was on a flying lap, got blocked by two cars at the final chicane. So that is why he is out of qualifying. Yeah, I mean, Ocon up in 8th position. We would expect Gasly to make it through, but yeah, unfortunately, he was blocked. Yeah, and that's another thing from Fluffy Puffy Puppy. When the conditions are changing, you have to when the conditions are changing, you have to be able to adapt, and whatever you did on your previous lap, you're going to have to change ever so slightly going into the next lap, and then on the next lap, you're going to have to change that ever so slightly once again. And it's a constant process of evolution, and yeah, it takes a great amount of skill, talent, and practice. So there we are. All right, Fernando Alonso is joined up at the queue at the end of the pit lane. The drivers will be coming out very, very shortly, and we will be going qualifying for the Q2 session. Okie dokes. What else is going on the circuit? Well, the green flag is out. Drivers are coming out of the pit lane, and we will have racing very shortly now. Yeah, here they are. Max Verstappen out onto the circuit on a fresh set of intermediate tyres. Now, the drivers don't have unlimited amounts of intermediate tyres. Unfortunately, I haven't been the best commentator, and I don't exactly know how many intermediate tyres they have. I think they have 3 sets. So they're going to have to manage that, because if it does rain tomorrow, they're going to have to drive on worn-out intermediate tyres. I will just check right now, in fact, how many intermediate tyres the drivers do get. Because, yeah, pretty critical to this weekend at least, because they had a couple in they used a couple in FP3, so they're going to have to, well, limit how much wear and tear each tire gets. All right, the drivers are given 4 sets of intermediate tires. So if they're given 4 sets, everyone just used 1 set in FP3, and then they use 1 set now, 1 set in Q2, and then 1 set in Q3. So the drivers are given 4. All right. Okie dokes, all 15 drivers out on circuit. We have Alex Albon on soft tires. How interesting. Yeah. Okie dokes. So we'll wait and see what Alex Albon can do. Can he match the performance of everyone else? Is he going to have to warm up his tyres for probably 2-3 laps before he gets any sort of temperature? We'll have to wait and see. But we have Max Verstappen lapping around on giving purple sectors absolutely everywhere, flying around the circuit, coming out of the hairpin now, coming onto the long back straight with DRS. He'll be getting a little bit of a tow, in fact, from Alex Albon, which is going to help him out on this lap. And here he comes towards the final chicane. No one ahead of him to block him. A nice run, a quick right-left, stays away from the wall of champions and into the final DRS zone. And across the line he goes for a 1 minute 20.1, matching his lap time from Q1. So Max Verstappen, Mr. Consistent, and with the same lap time that he did in the previous Q1 session. All right, we have a yellow flag on the circuit. It looks like someone has had a little bit of an issue. In fact, no, we haven't. It's back to green flags. That's just a quick yellow and a quick switch back to the greens. And we have Oscar Piastri crossing the line in second position. Fernando Alonso crosses the line into third. But let's have a look at Alex Albon. So Alex Albon, his lap times are, he's 3 seconds slower in the first sector compared to the Mercedes. So it's not slick tyres just yet. It'll be maybe the end of this session or the start of Q3 will be the time when the slick tyres really come into their own. But for now, they are 3 seconds off the pace in the first sector, 1 second off the pace, in the second sector. And then now here comes Alex Albon through the final sector. How far off the pace is he? We will find out shortly. We had, the reason we had that quick yellow that switched back to a green, it was because Lance Stroll had a spin. Oh my God, look at this. Alex Albon, purple in the third sector. Maybe the slick tyres are on for just working right now. And yeah, admittedly, his first sector was horrible and it was very slow, but I suspect that's because of a lack of tyre temperature. So all of the other teams now, they will be thinking about switching straight onto the softs and doing maybe 2 laps of warm-up before setting a proper flying lap. Also, would just like to point out, Stroll spun, got so close to hitting the wall, like literally centimeters away from hitting the wall, did not touch the wall, and got away with it completely unscathed. The only issue is that his intermediate tyres are completely flat-spotted and feel like driving on a square, like a bunch of squares, basically, instead of circles. But yeah, also, Max Verstappen has made the switch to slick tyres. So I suspect once Max Verstappen makes a switch, everyone else will be making the switch very shortly now. Yes, here we have Bottas onto the slicks and Lando Norris as well. Fernando Alonso will be setting the final lap on the Inters. By the looks of it, purple in the first sector. Let's see what you can do in the remaining sectors. But by the looks of it, yes, the slick tyres are faster. Alex Albon goes faster than Max Verstappen's intermediate time. So we have switched over to slick tyres. And in fact, it was exactly at the 1 minute 20s. I'm quite proud of that prediction. The source was Trust Me Bro, and it turned out to be correct. So there we go. All right, we have 9 minutes left on the clock. All the drivers now coming out onto slick tyres, and they will be making their way around the circuit, doing a lot of warm-up prep. But they do have to be careful. I mean, thing is, Lance Stroll spun on intermediate tyres, right? And he spun because of an excess of water going through that part of the circuit. I'll show you which part of the circuit he was going through. He was going through the exit of this corner, going down here, just onto the exit. Completely lost it, really. Yeah, I think it was this part of the circuit. So, was it this part of the circuit? Now I'm doubting myself. It was here, sorry. So he exited this corner, going through into here. This very little kink in the road. He dipped a little bit of his wheel onto the wet part of the circuit, instant spin. So, yeah, drivers are going to have to be careful. Okie dokes. So the only drivers left out on the Inters are Alonso and Hamilton. They're coming in shortly. But Alex Albon, 1 minute 18s from him. And then we'll have Verstappen doing his warm-up procedure. See, thing is, Alex Albon warmed up his tyres a couple of laps ago. So he's he's switching over to his tyres and is setting faster and faster lap times. Whereas the drivers that have just come out of the pits, they have some pretty cold tyres. Now, admittedly, they're 70 degrees, but the working temperature is 100 degrees. And when the circuit, the track temperature is 18 degrees, you tend to lose heat rather than gain heat. And yeah. Yeah, right. Trust me, bro, in your dissertation references. Honestly, if I like it, probably in my final report for my degree, I'm sure if there'll be like hundreds of references, so I could definitely slip in a trust me bro somewhere, just for the absolute jokes, really. Um, who knows? All right. Um, Alonso has come into the pits. Hamilton will be doing so shortly. But that puts them on the back foot. They've only got 6 minutes now to warm up those tyres, whereas everyone else has had around about, eight, will have around about eight, sorry, or they've had at least 3 minutes now that they've had warming up these soft tyres, getting them into the window because, yeah, temperature is pretty critical because they're too cold and they're pretty much like driving on a bit of, well, not driving on glass, but they don't really stick to the road, and you kind of need them to stick to the road when you're driving around at 200 miles an hour. Yeah, David Souza is Formula One going to eliminate tyre warming blankets. That is true. In fact, the wet tyres that the drivers have, um, they do not have tyre blankets. They are not allowed to put tyre blankets on them. Pirelli made them that way. And the FIA have said, right, sounds good. We won't be using tyre blankets anymore. So, at least for the wet tyres, the full wets. So that's they're trying to eliminate tire blankets. We're not at that full point right now, but there we are. All right, 5 minutes left on the clock. We have got drivers lapping around now. Alex Albon. Thing is now, once the drivers are on the soft tires, they can only do like 5 laps on them, and then they've completely worn out because you've done like 3 quali laps on them. 3 quali laps is pretty much killing a soft tire. So Alex Albon worked so hard to get tire temperature into those tires, and now he's going to have to come into the pits, switch onto a different set. Not great, really, not great whatsoever. All right. So here we go. Oscar Piastri is starting to push purple first sector from him. He's got quite a bit of traffic ahead of him in the middle sector. He's got Alonso, Perez, Sainz, Russell for traffic. Hopefully he doesn't get blocked. Yeah, look at this. Perez slowing down, getting out of the way. Fernando Alonso going into the hairpin, I suspect will take a wide line. But Perez is still on the Inters. Not exactly sure why. He's on a fresh set of intermediate tyres. But yeah, he's probably going to drive into the pits, come onto the slicks. And it's not even going to help him, really, because once he comes out onto the slicks, he'll only have 3 minutes left to warm those tyres up. And 3 minutes is not enough. So Red Bull have kind of screwed Perez over by putting him on Inters. Yeah, not exactly sure what Red Bull are doing there. Bit of a Ferrari moment from them, to be honest. Yeah. Okie dokes. Oscar Piastri through the middle sector didn't improve. Looks like he got held up, maybe. Oh no, he just wasn't that quick. Through the third sector, I think he did get held up. He was 3 seconds slower in the third sector. But yeah, Oscar Piastri yet to set a representative lap time. All right. Sainz has got a penalty for impeding. Okie doke. Well, that's, yeah, not great really for Sainz. But to be honest, Sainz really it's not even Sainz's fault. It's more for Ferrari's fault. Ferrari should have told him that he's going to have traffic, that there's traffic behind it. He's going to have to get out of the way. But yeah, did not do any of that whatsoever. I presume Ferrari. And yeah, Sainz once again with a penalty for blocking another driver. How is Max still not getting Albon? It's tire temperature, my friend. There's not much else I can say. Max Verstappen has done 5 laps on those soft tires, so maybe he's gonna have to come into the pits now and switch off those, because 5 laps has basically killed them. So, I mean, it's a bit of a tricky spot. Alex Albon might end up being in first place in this Q2 session. Of course, that's not going to have that big of an impact on anything, but nevertheless, Alex Albon doing a brilliant job. We still have 2 minutes left on the clock, so the drivers do still have time, but it is not looking good. Ooh, apologies for that yawn. All right, well, there's a black and white flag for Charles Leclerc failing to follow race director's instructions on track limits. I think he either extended track limits or like went off the circuit and didn't go next to a bollard. So that's what's happening there. Oh, drivers switching back onto Inters. Interesting. Everyone is back onto the Inters. It does not look like it's raining, but maybe that's the camera. I don't know, because we have how peculiar. Why is everyone back onto the Inters? I mean, maybe that was a good idea from Red Bull, but if the circuit is getting slower, your best bet is staying on the slicks. How interesting. Okay, with 1 minute left on the clock now, drivers from 10th position to 15th position are coming through the final sector with warmed up intermediate tyres as they go towards the start-finish line. We have Piastri out on softs, Russell out on inters, Stroll is out on softs. Yeah. Oh, I see what's happening. It's raining in the pit lane, but it isn't raining at the other side of the circuit. So that's why everyone switched onto intermediate tyres. That's what was happening. At the hairpin, it's not raining, but at the pit lane, it is raining. That's what you get, really. Like, even at Spa, with it's such a long circuit and it's like 1.5 kilometers each way. Now, of course, typically we don't have cameras looking at 1.5 kilometer distances. If it's raining at one place, is it raining at another place? But here we do, and we can see it's raining in the pit lane and not raining down at the hairpin. Esteban Ocon got blocked by a Aston Martin. I hope that wasn't Fernando Alonso. But yeah, Esteban Ocon has been blocked, and whichever Aston Martin is will probably get a penalty for that. And everyone's out back onto the intermediates, but by the looks of it, they're screwed because the rain has now begun and they will be lapping as slow as ever. With no chance to improve, and by the looks of it, everyone on slower than personal best sectors. It looks to be a bit of an anticlimactic end to Q2, but the drivers that have been eliminated, Charles Leclerc, Sergio Perez, Lance Stroll, Kevin Magnussen, and Valtteri Bottas. How interesting. Yeah, these drivers just switched onto those soft tyres a little bit too late, didn't have enough temperature on them, and couldn't set a quick lap. Also, I would just like to point out the driver that I was referring to before, saying who blocked Ocon, it was Lance Stroll. So Stroll, that will be investigated after the session. Yeah, we are 55 subscribers away from 55k. So if you haven't subscribed, guys, be sure to subscribe. Very much would help out the channel. Yeah. Yeah, Alex Albon had a brilliant call switching onto the slick tyres. Did it at the perfect moment as well. He switched to the soft tyres a little bit early, but in the little period where he switched, which was early, he built up the tyre temperature that was needed. And yeah, tyre temperature helped him to get into first position. And not even Max Verstappen could take that away from him. Now, unfortunately, we're going to have a 3 to 4 minute break before Q3 begins. The rain will continue falling, the circuit will get more and more wet, and it will become intermediate conditions. But with Alonso in Q3, with Sainz in Q3, and with Hamilton as well, we have a pretty good fight. I mean, I think the only driver that can really take the fight to Verstappen is potentially Alonso. Perez is not in the question anymore since he has been eliminated. So yeah, the only drivers left in the question now for Q3 is, well, at least for pole position, sorry, is Fernando Alonso. Um, yeah. All right. Oh, we had Charles Leclerc. He got a black and white flag because he braked too late and then just drove all over the grass rather than following the bollard. But yeah, it's just a black and white flag, no sort of penalty or anything. So that's fine. All right. So we'll have Q3 starting shortly. Also, guys, remember to stay hydrated. I'm going to have a quick drink and I'll be back in a second. Okie dokes. All right. Also, I would just like to ask I'm going to make a poll. I'm thinking about, should I redesign my logo? So it's just a simple yes no poll. Do you think? Well, see, the thing is, my logo is pretty bare bones. I'm pretty sure I made it in PowerPoint. So the question is, should I redesign my logo? I have a little bit of spare time. So yeah, there's a poll, and we'll wait and see if I redesign it or not. All right. Your new subscriber animation is hidden behind the map. Not sure if it's by design. Oh yeah. Oh, sorry. That is my bad. Let's just fix that. Yeah. Okay. So I think when someone subscribes now and their account is public, it will not be hidden behind the map. That's just my bad. I had to switch up how the map was being displayed onto the stream because of the copyright thing, and then I totally forgot to mess with all of the the settings. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Mess with all the settings. Just change the shade of red. MS Paint, mate. Yeah, try Paint next time. Change the shade of red, maybe. Yeah, change the shade to Ferrari red. Actually, that would mean my channel has a bunch of strategy blunders, which isn't great. Who knows? Change it for a refresh. Yeah, why not? Yeah, guys, be sure to hit the like button. We've got, I think, 1,500, 1,600 people watching. By the way, I am streaming for the race tomorrow, so if you are enjoying the commentary, then I will see you there. And it looks to be a pretty exciting race. We're going to have Leclerc and Perez make their way up through the field. We've got Gasly as well, starting from the back where we ideally shouldn't be. We've got the McLarens up in third and fourth. So that'll be exciting. Maybe they could score a podium. Fernando Alonso in fifth. Who knows where he'll be after Q3. Yeah. Do you watch F1 on Sky? Yeah. Yeah, I watch F1 on Sky. Well, not on Sky, but, I watch the Sky live feed. But I'm not using like the Sky Sports app or anything. Who knows? All right. Well, 70% of you think that I should redesign my logo. So, yeah, I probably will redesign my logo. When is the race tomorrow? I will double check when the race is tomorrow. I think it is 7 p.m. UK time. Let's have a look. Yes, it is 7 p.m. UK time, 2 p.m. Canada time. But effectively, from now, it is 21 hours away. 21 hours and 7 minutes. And yeah. For legal reasons, I totally watch it on Sky. I totally watch. I pay for the official Sky Sports. I pay the £1 billion that they want us all to pay, and I watch it on Sky Sports. Yeah, 70 plus 29 equals 99. I mean, YouTube is so good at mathematics. Yeah. All right, we are now. I think Q3 will be starting in 55 seconds. If not, it'll be starting in a minute and 55 seconds. But yeah. Yeah, the guy in chat called England. I totally get you. Exactly. That's what I mean. Will it be raining? Tomorrow it is not predicted to rain. In fact, I will just double check what the weather is for tomorrow in Montreal. But I'm fairly sure it will not be raining tomorrow. So looking at the precipitation, nope. Chances of rain are like 20%. And usually they just go down. It says 20%, and by like when we check it tomorrow, it'll be zero. So yeah. Oh yeah, £1 billion per month, guys. I mean, Sky Sports. If you don't pay £1 billion to watch F1, then do you really deserve to watch F1? You know. Um, yeah. All right. Anyway, Q3 has begun. Time has started ticking down, and no drivers out onto the circuit as of yet. Who do you think will be on pole position? I would have to say. Oh, in fact, no. Drivers are coming out onto the circuit. We got Verstappen, Alonso, Hulkenberg, Ocon. Yeah. What was the question? Oh, you used my favorite color in a different font. Yeah, maybe. Well, the thing is, it says F1 GP, not F1 Gamer. Um, who knows, really? Who knows? Um, still gonna have a think about it. I will change it probably. But yeah. Okie dokes. Everyone out on intermediate tires. We have Ocon on 2-lap old intermediate tires. Everyone else is on a fresh set. And yeah, map might need a refresh. It seems to be doing all right. If there is any more lagging, then I will do a refresh. But yeah. We need to get your channel sponsored by Philip Morris. Who is Philip Morris? I have no idea who he is. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, apologies for like the slight lack of commentary here. To be honest, everyone's on outlaps and they're just warming up their tires. There's not that much exciting stuff. Oh, Philip Morris, the tobacco company. I see. Multinational tobacco company with I presume like how much profit do they have? They have 9 billion net income. Yeah. All right. Might not be a bad idea to stop the freezing chat so much because if I want to keep an eye on chat, I'll have a scroll beneath your channel screen. Yeah, see, I don't know why the chat keeps freezing. It's a problem with OBS. Oh my god, it is raining quite hard now in Canada, guys. Yeah, it is raining quite hard. Visibility has gone down significantly. It's not due to spray. It is genuinely just raining that hard. Drivers are going to come out as early as possible, try and set their laps as early as they possibly can because conditions are getting worse and worse by the second. All right. How do you get the name F1 Gamer? I'm going to be honest. It was the most uncreative name ever. Like, yeah, I don't know why I picked F1 Gamer. I mean, thing is, I can't really change it right now, because it will like people look for F1 Gamer because I see in like the analytics like some people type F1 Gamer live stream or F1 live F1 Gamer, so if I change that, then that kind of ruins it. So, but who knows? Who knows? All right. Yeah, the drivers may have to switch onto the wets. We got Verstappen crossing line 1 minute 27.0. First driver to cross line. Esteban Ocon crossing line 1 minute 28.2. Track conditions are getting worse and worse. It is pretty much a banker lap, but it is also the only lap you've got because as the conditions get worse, you're not going to get any quicker. And yeah. Logo idea, F1 inscribed into a gamepad outline. That might be a good idea, actually. Yeah. I will have to have a think about it, but do appreciate the idea, Vedran. I can't say your second name, but thank you for the suggestion. F1 mechanic. F1 mechanic would be a pretty cool title as well. Who knows? We got Alonso up in second position. Brilliant job from him. 2/10 behind Max Verstappen, and if conditions don't get any worse, then we could see Alonso up in pole, but who knows? Yeah, Philip Morris is Marlboro, so
I think it's weird. Like I was thinking about this before, but they could just like smoking. We know smoking kills people, yet we still sell cigarettes, which is quite strange. Um, but I guess if they ban it, then people are just going to illegally grow it and illegally sell it. Um, so it's a bit of a tricky situation. But anyway, I'm not here to talk about cigarettes and stuff. I'm here to commentate Formula One. We have a yellow flag on the circuit, but Max Verstappen crosses the line, going 1.5 seconds faster than Fernando Alonso, improves on his last time absolutely massively. Fernando Alonso, though, purple in the middle sector, and as long as there isn't a yellow flag in the third sector, which by the looks of it, there isn't. No, there's a red flag. There is a red flag as Fernando Alonso is about to cross the line. That has absolutely ruined his lap. And he was on his way to potentially go faster than Max Verstappen. How tragic, guys. Oscar Piastri has hit the wall, apparently. Piastri has apparently hit the wall. I will just confirm that. But yeah, Piastri in the wall. So that is why we have a red flag. And if the conditions get worse, there's no point even going out. And I'm going to be honest, the visibility is zero. You can't see the drivers from the other side of the circuit. On the other side of the start-finish straight, no, you just can't see them. Also, Nico Hülkenberg in second position. What a fantastic job from him. I mean, his qualifyings all season round have been absolutely fantastic. And here he is in second place. What a lap from him. Just edges out Fernando Alonso. And don't know what else to say, really. Oh, sorry, I should probably change the thing to a red flag. But yeah, we have a red flag. Oscar Piastri in the wall. Yeah, he just spun the car around, hit his right rear by the looks of it into the barriers, and not much he can do. Might be a bit of an issue for his gearbox, because if the shunt was pretty big, then it's going to put a lot of vibrations through the gearbox. And yeah. Logo idea, your favorite track surrounding either favorite car or current car with the main sponsor being your name. Yeah. I don't know. I think favorite track is definitely a good idea. I think if I put a car on the logo, it might get a little bit cluttered, because the logo is trying to be simple, and also on your screen, like if you scroll down and look at the F1 GP, it's quite small. But yeah, Oscar Piastri, so when he lost the car, he was just coming onto the power on the exit, lost it, corrected the car too much, overcorrected, and then lost the car again. And then, yeah, just did he did a 180 and then the rear of his car into the barriers. All right. We have a red flag. There are rain droplets all over the cameras. And by the looks of it, rain is still falling. So unless the conditions get any better, it will be very much a competition for... Well, to be honest, I think the positions are very much set in stone. Unless conditions get better by the time they recover Piastri's car, which I don't think they will, we will have the positions stay as they are. We will have to confirm that, of course. Now, if it gets delayed by 2 minutes, the drivers could probably still get out and improve, but it's pretty difficult to tell if it's still raining or not, because you can't tell if it's just spray or if it's just bad visibility in general, or who knows. Oh, but looking at the weather radar, yeah, I've just looked at the weather radar, guys. It is just a massive patch of blue everywhere over the circuit. So the circuit will be getting soaked very, very shortly. Are you allowed to flash a screen of the screenshot of the actual live? It's a bit risky. Yeah, it's a bit risky to say the least, really. So I'm gonna not do it. I think I used to do that in 2021. And I never particularly got any sort of issues from it, because I just took the photos off Twitter. And realistically, if you can get photos off Twitter, you can surely show them on YouTube. But
yeah, FOM is being a little bit draconian with their whole banning system and everything. Um, so yeah, I'm not gonna risk it really, and I'm already on 1 out of 3 copyright strikes. So, I mean, it will get removed on Monday, but better to just play it safe. All right, we are 44 subscribers. Oh no, 34 subscribers away, from 55K. So if you could do that, then that would be fantastic. Yeah. Oh yeah. At the bottom of the screen, I wrote Red Bull is not as fast as usual. Um, well, to be fair, they weren't in the practice sessions. They weren't as fast. Ferrari were quite a lot closer. And in fact, looking at the data, for the dry running at least, Ferrari were significantly closer to Red Bull than they usually are. But yeah, here we are in the race, and here we are in the rain. Sorry, and yeah, Red Bulls are once again just dominating as usual. All right. Oh, we have a car queuing up at the end of the pit lane. It looks like the red flag will be taken away very, very shortly. Qualifying will continue, and yeah, qualifying is going to continue. They've very quickly took away the what's it called? Took away Oscar Piastri's car, and we will be going racing, going qualifying very, very shortly now. Fernando Alonso as well. Everyone just queuing up at the end of the pit lane. They want to get out as early as physically possible. So yeah, kind of self-explanatory to be honest. So Oscar Piastri, effectively what happened, he was trying to carry too much speed through the corner, and because he was going too fast, he had to turn the steering wheel too much to make sure the car actually went in the direction he wanted to. But in doing that, he turned the steering wheel too much. The front of the car stuck, the rear of the car didn't. He lost the rear. He was balancing on the edge of grip, no grip, no grip, and then yeah, the momentum kind of just carried him over into the barrier. All right, 25 subscribers to 55K, guys. Yeah. Has it been raining more or less since the red flag? By the looks of it, it's still been raining. But I honestly I cannot tell you because you see the rain droplets on the camera, but that could be rain droplets from the spray, or that could be rain droplets from before. But in fact, looking at the camera, looking at Fernando Alonso's helmet, he's sat in the end of the pit lane, and there are no raindrops on his helmet or on his steering wheel or anything like that. So it looks like the rain has either settled down a lot or just kind of stopped. But anyway, whatever's happened, we will find out with the lap times. The green flag is once again flying, and and Carlos Sainz, Max Verstappen, all out onto the circuit. We have 6 minutes of qualifying yet to go. All right. Here they are, all on a fresh set of intermediate tyres as well. We've got Norris on a 2-lap old set, but apart from that, everyone else is on a fresh set, and everyone looking to go as quickly as they can. Now, we will see from their first representative runs, is the circuit faster, is the circuit slower? Unfortunately, I don't have the sector times. In fact, actually, I could probably find the sector times. Give me one sec, guys. Best sectors. Okay, so a 22.9, a 25.1, and a 30.8. So that's what Max Verstappen's best sectors are. Yeah, 22.9, 25, and 30. Okay. So when he does end up driving around, oh, Max Verstappen into the pits. Let's see, what does everyone else do? Does everyone else just drive around, realize it's worse conditions, and come back into the pits, or what? Yeah, Verstappen's just said over the radio, yeah, it's a lot wetter already. Wetter? It's a lot wetter already. Um, so there we go. We still have the other drivers. They're still lapping. Oh, well, Hulkenberg's come into the pits. And we have the other drivers driving around. Alonso is still driving. We'll see what he can do. Maybe he's going on a quick lap in the first sector. But definitely a lot wetter. There is so much more. There's so much more spray coming off the back of these cars now. It looks like the deal has been sealed, and we have Nico Hulkenberg in second place. Just hang on a second here, guys. We have got Fernando Alonso setting his times, but yeah, he is 5 seconds slower in the first sector. And Sainz has just got the message over the radio that there is even more rain coming in 2 minutes time, which means the circuit is getting slower and slower, which means Nico Hulkenberg, barring any penalties, will be starting in second place tomorrow, which is fantastic. I think that's the highest a Haas has ever qualified, which is... Oh no, Haas got a pole. Did Haas get a pole? I swear Haas got a pole like in 2021? No, last year in Brazil. 2022 Brazil qualifying. Yeah, K-Man got a pole. Okay, yeah. Okay, well, this is their second highest qualifying position then. But yeah, all the drivers now just coming back into the pits. They realize the circuit's slower. There's nothing they can do. And yeah, Carlos Sainz, in fact, locking up going into turn number 1. And goes straight all over onto the grass. Just locks the inside. No, doesn't even lock up, in fact. Just has no braking performance. Well, he has braking performance, just not what he expected. And there he goes onto the grass. They are fitting the full wet tyres onto Max Verstappen's car. I'm not sure why, because it is almost guaranteed the full wet tyres are slower than the full intermediate tyres. I guess they might be just putting it out as a precaution, but to be honest, there's no need really. And yeah. All right, Carlos Sainz now just coming into the pit lane. Yep. And we are going to have the most anticlimactic 2 minutes of Q3. Yeah. Yeah, Max is going to do a quick 360. I mean, he might as well, he's got gearboxes. He can take gearbox penalties, engine penalties. It doesn't particularly matter. He's still going to win the championship anyway. Yeah, maybe Red Bull want to gather some data on wets. Admittedly, these are new wet tires. They have got, what's it called? They don't have any tire warmers. They are not allowed to use tire warmers. And Pirelli have made them specifically for that purpose. So that's pretty good. But yeah, they don't seem to be that different from the previous wets. And yeah, to be honest, they aren't that different. We saw them run in FP3 and they were pretty much the same. So there we are. All right. Let's have a look. 1 minute left of the session, guys. And yeah, no one is coming out whatsoever. And that has been that, guys. So we'll just count down towards the end of Q3. But it's been a pleasure commentating to you guys. If you enjoyed today's stream, then I will be streaming tomorrow for the full race. All 71 laps of the race will be commentated. And yeah. Okay, so is the spray extreme on the new ones? No, the spray is pretty much the same. I think they have the same tread pattern as well. It's just they have a different type of rubber that's in them, which means that they can start off working at a lower temperature. But yeah, appreciate everyone that has tuned in. we are now in the final 10 seconds of Q3. And I will see all of you tomorrow. Yeah. It's been a pleasure to commentating to you guys wherever you are in the world. Have a nice morning, afternoon, evening, or night, depending on where you are. And I will see you in 21 hours and 45 minutes, or 20 hours and 45 minutes, something like that. Well, yeah, you guys know when the race starts, and and just remember to hit the reminder button on the stream as well. Also, if you could hit the like button on tomorrow's stream, that would be fantastic. Really helps out the channel. But apart from that, that's all from me, and I will see you all tomorrow.